going live now. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Good Trouble. If you are watching here today, we thank you for joining us. We see two people right now, so we want to thank you again for coming on the Good Trouble. This is always a great discussion and platform for us to engage and bring some voices on for you all to hear some great information. I'm Demetrius Hill. I'm the coordinator of Experiential Learning, and I have here Mr. Kimani Hickman. We are grateful for him to be with us today. If you let them know who you are, they may not be aware.
Hi, my name is Kimani Hickman. I'm the director of Career Pathways Initiative. I look forward to a great conversation today. Thank you for having me, Mr. Du.
Thank you, sir. So if you're in the comments right now, if you're on this live recording, please just let us know where you're coming in from, who you are, because I think that you are definitely in for a treat today. We have our special guest. I won't do too much of an introduction in this regard because we want him to do all of that. So please welcome to our Good Trouble podcast today, Mr. David Miller. How are you doing,
I'm
sir?
doing great. Thank you. Thank you. It's such a delight to be available and to be here to engage in conversation.
Yes, sir. So briefly, can you just let the people know who you are, possibly where you are, because it's a beautiful background, if you would like to. So it's on you,
Actually,
sir.
I'm David Miller. I'm chairman of the board for Voorhees College, and I'm currently in Los Angeles, my home, in my backyard, sitting on my patio.
Yes, sir. So we have the chair of the board of trustees. I'm sure you guys can feel the wealth on our conversation now. We probably feel way wealthier in this conversation having him on board. So let's jump right into it. Some of our questions today, we really want to just engage with you and just kind of see where your mind is regarding some of these questions. So let's start off with talking about technology, right? Being that we are in a technological savvy and very advanced society, where do you see the relevancy of newspaper going over the next 5 to 10 years, being that you are very successful in that area?
Well, in order for me to explain that, let me at least share where I am. I
Please,
am
sir.
a newspaper owner. I am the owner of probably the largest group of newspapers in Los Angeles, or California in general, black newspapers. When it comes to newspapers in general, a lot of times you hear most people say a newspaper is a dying breed. Yes, that part is true. That part is mainly true for general market newspapers, which means the white newspapers. It's 7 days a week newspapers. When it comes to community-based newspapers, there are two areas of critical growth. One of them is community-based newspapers, and the second is, of course, the World Wide Web. We have done phenomenal this year considering the pandemic. I mean, I have gone above and beyond what we've done last year. So when it comes to newspaper and technology, I think newspapers will always be around. You got a lot of older people or a lot of older audience that really that's not technology savvy. So they are not in tune to reading it on their phone. They're not in tune to going on the internet to look at what's going on in the world today. They like that hard copy newspaper. So I think newspapers will be around forever.
That's a great answer, and I'm glad you shared that. So I want to kind of go back for a minute too. As a successful entrepreneur, as you are, what would you say were some of the three main competencies that you focus on to get where you are today?
Actually, one of the main things that any successful business need to do, I think for the most part, number one is marketing.
Yes, sir.
Making sure that you're putting your name out there, making sure that you're visible. People know who you are, what you're doing. Secondly, is to have that business plan in place. That business plan is going to be key. That business plan is your roadmap, not necessarily for the next year, but for the next 5 years, for the next 10 years. You have a plan of action in place. One thing I will say with my business, I started from scratch. 2004, starting from scratch. I remember receiving that first check for $200. But to
Mm.
be more than $1 million business within my first year was phenomenal. To generate that
Wow.
kind of revenue in the first year.
Wow.
So over a 16-year period, we are a multi-million-dollar business. So there's something to be said, but it's about having that marketing plan, having that business plan, and having that vision. If you got
Yes,
that
sir.
vision, got that know how to make it happen, it will happen.
So let me ask another question, because you said have something about have vision. Did you ever see yourself making this much money when you first started?
Yes, I did. I'm gonna tell you why. Because based on my background, my experience, I worked for numerous newspapers here in the California or Los Angeles market.
Hmm.
And I invested a lot of my time, my energy with making money for those companies. If I could do
Ah.
it for companies, why can't I do that for myself? So yes,
Mhm.
I did see that vision.
Now, have you always been in California, or did you kind of, go in different spots?
No, I've always been in California. I actually attended grad school after Voorhees College. I attended Iowa State University, where I received my master's in mass communication and journalism. And I actually moved to California to work for the LA Times.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I
So
invested
what?
about years with the LA Times.
So why California, and not maybe an area in the South, being that you were at Voorhees? And Mr. Hickman, you're on mute too, by the way.
I am on mute.
No, no, no.
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Hickman
sorry.
was. You're fine, Mr.
Oh,
Miller.
okay. Okay. Actually, to be honest with you, the reason I moved to California, it was a change of pace. It was something different. I grew up in the South. I don't know. It's funny because as a kid, always remember saying as a kid when I was like 10, 11 years old, I'm going to live in California. And it really didn't come to light that I realized that I was saying that as a kid until about 5 years ago. I'm like, I now remember saying that I was going to live in California because it was the glitter and the gold. I mean, one
Hmm.
thing as a kid, and a lot of times for a lot of people that don't necessarily live in California, you see the glitter and the gold, and you really don't realize that there's poverty here just like anywhere else.
Yeah,
So it was always an ambition and a goal to live in Los Angeles.
got it.
Hey, Chairman Miller, I have a question for you. At Voorhees College, we normally breed success, and I think you're a testament to that. But as far as serving as president of Alumni Affairs, what were some of the most notable achievements you were able to accomplish?
You know, serving as the National Alumni Association president, that was an honor. It really made a difference in my life. It connected me with alumni across the world. Some of the main successes that we've had in my 4 year tenure as president, we developed Summerfest, which was an event that takes place every other year. We have the the national meeting that takes place the opposite year. But Summerfest was an opportunity that would happen in June that brings alumni together with a series of different events. We also incorporated 10 under 40, which we recognize alumni that are under 40 years old that were doing notable things, not necessarily in their community, but in their profession. Um, we we achieved the board of trustees goal for the past 4 years in terms of alumni giving. So there are so many things that we accomplished within that 4 year period that I feel strongly about and felt good about. It brought a lot of alumni back to the table. One thing about me, I have that ability of persuasion. So I was able to bring a lot of alumni back to Voorhees College, especially for homecoming and different events that we hosted at Voorhees College that ordinarily they had never come back since they graduated. So I think we made some notable achievements over the 4 years that I was president of the National Alumni Association.
Awesome.
Not to
We
mention
also
I increased membership as well from when I think I took on as president. We had members roughly about 142 members. We exceeded that by more than 400. annually.
Awesome. Hey, I have $1 million question. So we might as well just jump into it.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's froze on your
It
end.
froze.
Is he?
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. Okay. I think Mr. Hickman is froze. But so while he's trying to figure out what's going on his end, I want to ask you a question because being the president over the Alumni Association, how important is it, in your words, for alumni to participate and be involved so that the university can continue to succeed, or college?
It's so relevant. It's so important because you, as an alumni, can make a difference. Not only from a giving standpoint, because financial support is always key, but secondly, a lot of times you have that influence to be able to bring other alumni back to the table. One
Yeah.
thing that I take pride in is when I look at the alumni base of Voorhees College, there are so many successful alumni out there in different areas of their career. And I think it's
Hmm.
relevant and it's good for students to see what these alumni are currently doing and to give them hope that, hey, if this person can achieve this, I can too.
Yeah.
Voorhees College was a phenomenal background foundation for my career.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I would say today, if it were not for Voorhees College, I would not be where I am today. So I
Mm.
am very proud of the achievements and everything that I accomplished at Voorhees College. And
Yes,
that's why
sir.
I'm so wholeheartedly willing to give back, to reach
Yeah.
back, do what I can,
Yeah.
not only from a financial support standpoint, but also to help recruit other students. There are
Yeah.
numerous students that I've recruited from Los Angeles that have attended Voorhees College.
Yeah. So let's go into another one of our questions, because that was a great segue on the end of your last statement, because you started talking about recruiting, recruitment and retention, and some fundraising. So why do you think that these areas, retention, recruitment, and fundraising, are so important for Voorhees College?
First of all, without the fundraising, it it gotta help improve Voorhees across the board. We talked
Mhm.
recently about technology. I mean, fundraising. There's so much needed in terms of these colleges in today's time, especially historical Black colleges. We're not necessarily getting the funding from the state that we used to get, or federal government that we used to get. So it's
Mhm.
so relevant right now to drive those dollars to the college in the event that it could assist with all the other things that's needed. One
Yeah.
thing that we take pride in. A lot of funds that go into the college, we don't necessarily want it to be based on restriction. Restriction typically is based on, okay, we want these funds to go particular for scholarships. We want these funds to go for this. But when you give money and it's unrestricted, it helps to also help with the overall operating cost of the college. So
Yeah.
fundraising is very relevant. Secondly, enrollment. We have recruiters, of course, at Voorhees College, but what's relevant, we got to have others to help bring students to the table, because when you look at recruiters, they're only limited. There's only so much they could actually do.
Yeah.
There's so many people they could actually reach, but we as an alumni have that ability to reach out to a much broader base and perhaps
Yeah.
bring some students to the table that maybe our recruiters can't get to. And
Mhm.
retention, of course, retention is important because you want them to come there as a freshman and you want them to be there throughout their senior year. So it's very relevant in terms of retention. And it also shows, when retention rates are good, it also shows the credibility of the university or the college.
Yep. So just one last question, and I'll give it over to Mr. Hickman because I see he's back. So when you're out recruiting, Chairman Miller, what is your ideal student that you're looking for? Like what type of assets, or what type of personality traits are you looking for to say, okay, he's Voorhees College material, or she's Voorhees College material?
I don't think I actually limited to having a description. I think for the most part, I'm looking for someone that actually wants to get a 4-year education.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think personality traits or any of that makes a difference, but someone that truly wants to get an education, particularly, I think when you look at the background of Voorhees College, for the most part, a lot of the students that attend Voorhees College are first generation college graduate students. A
Yeah.
lot of times especially in a place like Los Angeles, you got a lot of single family homes operated by the mother, and she's raising these boys and these girls. I think, again, I mentored boys over the past 25 years, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
relevant because a mother can only do so much with a young man. It
Yeah.
takes other men to help raise that boy. So at the end of the day, I focus a lot on single family homes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with a kid or a young man or a young girl having an interest in an education and doing everything I can to push them towards Voorhees College. When you look at
Yeah.
the makeup of Los Angeles, California in general, the Cal State schools and the UC schools application process closes in October.
Mm.
These schools turn away a lot of students with 3.8 GPAs, 3.9 GPAs because they have such an overabundance number of
Wow.
responses that
Yep.
it doesn't leave a lot of these students with options. So therefore, I think when you look at Los Angeles or California in general, it's a major mecca for recruiting
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of these brown and black kids don't have options. They don't have a lot of options. I'm not a firm believer in junior college. I have to be real about that. I'm not a firm believer, especially if you're attending a junior college within your hometown. You still have your circle of friends, you still have your family living at home. And what I'm seeing, for the most part, and don't quote me on this, but this is my take. Majority of
Yes,
the
sir.
kids that attend junior college, especially a city like Los Angeles, they do not complete it. They do not
Mm-hmm.
complete it. So the best thing possible is to get away from home, get away from your circle of friends. So I definitely take pride in pushing kids. One thing too about Los Angeles, major metropolitan city. These
Mm-hmm.
kids have grown up in the hustle and bustle of life here in Los Angeles. The fire trucks, the police cars, the helicopters, the game banging. So my thing is to take you from Los Angeles and put you in South Carolina. It's a whole different world. It's a world that you're
Yeah.
not accustomed to. It's a world that
Mm-hmm.
will bring some peace to your life, especially being a young man.
Yeah.
Los Angeles or California is a hard city for a young man because
Mm-hmm.
you have the opportunity to go in so many different directions that are not positive. So to get away from this environment and to be able to go away and get a 4-year degree at a little small town in South Carolina where you don't hear helicopters, you don't hear police cars, you don't hear the fire trucks going, I think it makes a world of a difference for these guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that answer as well, Miss Hickman.
Yes, sir. Mr. Do, is it time for the $1 million question?
I think it's
Oh
time.
wow, the
Let's.
million.
$1 million question. Chairman Miller, I think everyone in attendance would like to know, and well, yeah, everyone. In January 2021, will you have an opportunity to name our new interim president? Now, keep in mind, I believe that we have one or two great candidates that are currently that may currently already reside at the institution. So I'm not sure if that's considered right now privileged information, or if you can give us any type of indicator when we can expect an announcement.
Actually, the $1 million question, while I'm ahead of the game on the $1 million question, we have already identified the interim president for Voorhees College. I don't necessarily want to say straight off who that person is. That person has been notified. That person has accepted opportunity, and it will soon be announced across the board. But yes, the board met on Monday, and we have identified who that interim president will be. So I'll put it this way: it is someone that is employed at Voorhees College currently.
Oh, that is awesome. And I think you
So
satisfied
more,
our
so more
curiosity,
to come.
sir.
More to come on that.
Yes,
I'm
sir. I
sorry. Say
think
it
you
again.
satisfied our curiosity. And we are definitely
Okay.
looking
Yes, that
forward
will come.
to go ahead, sir.
I said no, that will come. It will be announced pretty soon. But yes, we have also already identified who that interim president will be. So
All
we
right.
are ahead of the game.
We're definitely excited. And we thank you for breaking that news here with us on Good Trouble Podcast. Mr. Du, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, so Chairman Miller, we got to go into one of our last and final questions. But before we end, I would definitely want to tell you thank you for coming on today. You didn't have to; you could have been enjoying your patio in the back right now with the beautiful background. You didn't have to come on with us, but we want to say thank you so much for coming on. So with your schedule being
You welcome.
extremely busy, yes, sir.
And I
I,
apologize for the scheduling. I was up pretty late last night working on a couple of projects. So, and I really had a different timeline in mind. So I do apologize for getting on a little late.
Yes, sir. It's all good on our end, no problem. And I think we may be having a lag on each of our ends. So if you hear me talking a little bit later or responding a little bit later, then that may be the issue. We're just having a small lag with the computer right now.
Okay.
So the last question is this: with family being important, life being important, business being just as important, and you
Definitely.
having so many hands in different pots, how do you organize your time, Chairman Miller, with so many things going on?
You know, what's so important is first, let's start with business. I would really be honest if I didn't own my own business and had a team that I could trust and depend on. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the things that I'm currently doing today. My family, I balance business, family, and all the things I do. I balance all of that. I dedicate my time with my family. I spend as much time, quality time with the family as possible. And really, to be honest with you, I don't do a lot sociably other than work related, especially over the past year. It's been with this pandemic, of course, very limited in terms of what I can do. But I'm able to balance because I have a team that works for me that does what they need to do, that makes it happen. I don't necessarily have to be there. It affords me an opportunity to do things outside of the 9 to 5, day to day stuff. And again, my family is very relevant, very important. I'm going to definitely make sure I allocate time to spend with my family as well. So overall, you have to, it's a mixture of things. And yes, it's a lot of time that's committed. But at the end of the day, the number one thing that I take pride in, what can I do to make a difference or be a blessing in someone else's life? And that is primarily my life. That's who I am, and that's what I believe in.
Yes, sir. Our last question. This pandemic has turned our world upside down. People have gone away, have passed away from COVID-19, and other people have been affected by it, either indirectly or directly. What have been some of the things, Chairman Miller, that you say that you have kind of been a little bit more sensitive to or learned during the pandemic?
Well, first of all, I think for the most part, why we still have an issue today, people have not built in individuals that social distancing is very important. You got to
Yeah.
keep your ground. You got to social distance. You got to stay away from other people. Secondly, the most important part is that mask. Wear that mask, not necessarily for your own protection, but for the protection of other people. So I limit, I limit where I go. Right now, my business is getting ready to close for 2 weeks. I spend a lot of time at home. I would love to be out of town. I have a vacation home in South Carolina. I would love to be at that vacation home. But at the end of the day, of the day, I got to protect me and I got to protect my family and others that are around me. So the
Yeah.
best practice that we could do as a whole is stay at home as much as possible. Stay out of the presence of other people, because when you're not around someone, you don't have to be concerned about passing on COVID or receiving COVID. So again,
Yeah.
it's about keeping that distance.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the answer, Mr. Hickman. Do you have anything else you would like to share before we?
Yes, sir. Chairman Miller, I spoke to someone on yesterday, and they informed me that at one point throughout the pandemic that you were up to running uh, 5 or 6 miles a day. Is that report accurate?
That report is absolutely accurate. I am proud to say, since March, since the pandemic been around, I've dropped 36 pounds. 36
Wow.
pounds as a result of walking and running every single day. I've gotten up and on some days up to 16 miles in a given day.
Ooh,
And it wasn't by design that I planned to go out there and do it, but again, we're having a lot of downtime during this pandemic. I just got out there and did what I had to do. We
yeah.
first went into this pandemic. My daughter was back at home living. They were cooking every single day. I know we can't do this every day, So as a result, I decided that we all need to get on a program. We need to be more physical fit. So I just started walking and running every day. Sometimes going out 2 and 3 times a day because of not having anything else to do. So as a
Wow.
result, yes, I've dropped 36 pounds since February, March.
Wow. Wow. That's that's some good
So the
stuff.
pandemic
I
has been
commend you.
good. Pandemic has been good for me, not necessarily. Yeah, so I'm very proud, and I'm continuing to do that. It's a lifestyle.
Wow. Wow.
Definitely. Mr. Doom, I know we got about 4 minutes before we wrap, but I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate Chairman Miller. We talk about you quite frequently when we were looking at the next potential guest on our podcast. Matter of fact, we were in the process of drafting a letter to Dr. Hopkins, our provost, and have him on our next issue of our podcast, Good Trouble. So hopefully, when we come back in January, we'll be able to spend some time with Dr. Hopkins, and it should be fun filled. Take my word on that, Mr. Doom.
Yes, sir. Last question,
Okay,
Chairman Miller.
okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm excited. First and foremost, I believe Voorhees. I graduated actually in 1984. But at
Wow.
the end of the day, I talk about Voorhees every single day to someone because, again, I am so proud of that institution. I am so proud of the growth. I am so proud of the level Dr. Evans has brought that institution back to. It's in me. It's in me. And I would encourage any student. I think about when I was a student graduating from high school, I had the opportunity. I got accepted into so many colleges and universities, especially PWIs. But
Mm,
I chose Voorhees. And if
yeah.
I had to do it all over again, I would choose Voorhees again
Mm,
because of the foundation. Uh, One thing I will say with attending Voorhees College, I met friends, a circle of friends that are lifetime friends.
yeah.
People that I knew back in 1980, some of them I'm still in contact with. So it means the world to me. And I think for the most part, a lot of people have an idea of the history and the relationships that you will build by attending the HBCU.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong relationship. So
Yeah.
I appreciate everything that I've gotten from Voorhees College. Because again, I have to say, had it not been for Voorhees College, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know where I would be.
Yeah.
But that foundation and background really was profound and it made an impact on my life. And that's why I feel strongly about giving back.
Yes, sir. So, last and final question. There are some students that may watch this on the playback. there are some people that may be watching this. What motivation and inspiration do you have for them that are saying the pandemic hasn't been the best for me, right? And I'm still in school and it's tough, it's rough. I have to learn differently. How can I stay inspired or stay motivated to end this course?
Well, let me say this. The pandemic has impacted the world. It has impacted every single one. But at the end of the day, we have to stay focused. We have to stay
Yeah,
grounded. We have to believe that this too shall come to pass. At the end of the day, it is up to you as an individual to really determine your future. And
yeah,
just know that this is short term. So no matter what, stay focused. Give it your all in all. This too shall come to pass. In terms of being successful, success doesn't start with home. It doesn't necessarily start with Voorhees College. It doesn't start with, being in a different environment. It starts with you as the individual.
yes,
You
sir.
determine your future. You determine where you want to go
Absolutely.
in life. You determine what you want to achieve in life. We can't put that on others to make that decision. We have to make that decision on our own. And again, I am definitely a prime example of a rural home boy in South Carolina, rural town, growing up in the South, that made a difference in life and have become very successful. If I could do it, so can you. So again, give
Yes,
it
sir.
your all in all. Don't ever be a quitter. No matter what you do, don't quit. The race is still on, and you got to give it your all in all. And I'm a firm believer in that.
Yes, sir. That's a great answer by our chairman right here on Good Trouble, Chairman David Miller. If you haven't watched the entire show, I want you to go back because he says so many things that I know that we'll be
Please
able to
watch.
glean from and really be able to apply to our life. So again, Chairman, want to say thank you so much for you coming on today. Do you have any final words you would like to share with the people before we end today?
The final word that I might have for you as chairman of the board of Voorhees College, I would encourage, despite everything that's going on in terms of the pandemic, we don't necessarily know what the future holds, but all of us have the ability to touch another life, to bring someone else on board. I mean, many of us know students, many of us know people who have graduated from high school that are currently not working, currently not doing anything that will make a world of a difference. So bring them on board because at the end of the day, once they get in, as the old saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make them drink. But at the end of the day, you have the ability to touch someone else's
And
life
make
and
them
to make a
drink.
difference in someone else's life by encouraging them to get that formal education. A lot of kids that don't come from a family that really encourages and instills values and things of that sort, everybody's not capable of doing that, to be honest with you. Everybody's not capable of instilling values and because they looking at their background, they may not necessarily have that. But at the end of the day, no matter what you want to achieve in life, you can achieve it. You just got to apply yourself. You got to apply yourself. And sometimes we, especially African Americans, feel like we don't have those role models to place that
Yeah.
value on. But you could
Yes,
do
sir.
it without that role models. Do what you got to do to make a difference, and you can achieve anything you set your mind out to do.
Yes, sir. Mr. Hickman, any last
Yes,
words you would like
sir.
to share?
In conclusion, Mr. Du, I want to take time again to thank
That's pretty good. I
Chairman
appreciate.
Miller. I want to thank again Chairman Miller, but I also want to thank you, Mr. Du, for your time and your effort to ensure that this program is a success. And again, how we say and how Tiger Nation normally says, all we do is win. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So again, we apologize because there may be some
Thank you, and
lag.
I appreciate you guys inviting me on. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. There may be some lags with our broadcast today. So if you go back, just kind of bear with us. We apologize. We're not sure what's going on, but we'll definitely get that tied in together. So thank you again. If you're watching this, thank you for watching Good Trouble. John Lewis said the best. He said if you can get in any trouble, get in some good trouble. So have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.